So welcome everyone to November Open Forum, November 2023.
Mm.
Good to see you all. Good to see these smiling faces from around the globe. And yeah, looking forward to another morning of inspiration and ideas and thoughts and stuff, and excited to see where everyone's at and yeah, just sharing. So I'm going to just start, no, open it up. Open it up to anyone who wants to. Actually, I won't do that. I might, well, because we've got Alison. Alice, is your first one, isn't it? What have you been to?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
No. I listened to one, but I didn't catch
Oh,
it.
you haven't been live. So this is you in the flesh. So I might just get Alice to just introduce herself to everyone. So Alice, I'll just hand it over to you.
Okay. My name's Alice. I'm currently living in Bali for the last 6 years. And 6 months ago, I released my book, which looks like this. It's called I'm Alice, Break Up, Breakdown, Breakthrough. And it's my personal story of transformation. Back in 2014, I had a huge shock and I got a divorce. I lost my adopted children. I write about my story of spiritual awakening and acute stress or mental breakdown, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, that's my story really. And then so obviously then I moved to Bali and create a whole new life. So that's the happy ending.
Awesome. And now, so Alice, when did you publish your book?
March.
March. So it's
Yeah.
been out about 6 months, 6 or 7 months,
Yes.
8 months. Wow, the
Oh
11th
my
month.
God, really?
And the 11th month of the year. Isn't it crazy?
I
Crazy.
know.
So
It is
Alice
crazy.
is now just really working on getting a book into hands and getting herself onto stages and doing stuff because her story is pretty mind blowing. And there will be a podcast coming out in the next 7 days that you'll be able to hear Alice's story a bit more detail. But welcome, Alice. Good to have you here.
Thanks.
Okay, tell us where we're at. Who wants to start? Who wants to share some great news, some breakthroughs, some anything that you would like to share? Questions
Um,
you've got?
Guys, I've got some great news. Oh, sorry, Cherie, did you want to?
Go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Because when we were in Bali, Andrew,
Yes.
and I
I
was
did do that. Yes,
sorry,
I do.
just mention it one more time. And I was totally inspired by Adam Wallace, who's your a colleague and
Yep.
facilitator and children's author, and his persona or presentation, whatever, something went off in my brain, and Andrew, I had no plans of writing another book, and I thought, you know what? How about I try writing a children's book, which Adam's, inspired me, or his presentation inspired me, his story inspired me. And so that's what I did. I came home and I wrote it ages ago. It's just almost a week after we got back, but I didn't really say anything till I was sort of kind of sure that's where I wanted to be. And anyway, I'm ready now. I've written it and I'm now ready to submit it to publishers.
Yay.
Whether it's you know, I don't know. My theme is a lot different to normal. I'm not normal books to most children's books because my two main characters have both got disabilities. I have a disability, so and when I was doing my research, most of the books on kids with disability was just talking about their disability.
Yeah.
It wasn't actually talking about none of them had any fun or adventures. So my two kids are having lots of fun and adventures.
That's awesome.
And I'm not focusing on how they got their disability. I mean, if someone wants to know and I'm talking about the book, I'll just make something up, but I'm not focusing because I've only got 500 words. So, once you talk about how they got their disability, you've got no book.
It's not relevant, is it?
Yeah. So see how we go from there. Watch this space, I guess.
That's awesome, Annie. Good on you.
Thank you.
Interesting how, just being in a place and with an open mind can trigger, spark an idea that you actually follow through with. So
Yeah.
that's
And the
awesome.
thing with this book or these two characters, I can actually make a series out of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
They
absolutely.
can have total, different adventures.
Yeah.
So my first one is rock wall climbing. Next one, they might go kayaking, you never know what they'll be up to.
Fantastic. So what age group are you
You don't
looking at?
realise what your brain's capable of. You think it's dormant, but then something kind of clicks and away you go.
There's so much possible in that brain of ours, isn't there? Wow. That's awesome.
Thanks,
I just
Andrew.
wanted to ask a question, Annie.
Yeah.
So what age group are you looking at?
They're going to be maybe 4 to 8.
Okay.
The 2 kids are 8.
Okay. And where are you looking at submitting?
I'm not sure yet. I've just had a quick look on probably a children's publisher.
Yep.
But I've just had a quick look on the internet to just get an idea of
Brilliant.
what to do. And I think because and it says on there, if you've already published a book, you've got more chance.
Yeah, definitely.
Having something published. So,
are you a member of the
Andrew? Sorry,
are you a member of the Australian Society of Authors?
Oh, no, I'm not.
That would be really worth, because for advocacy, but also they run sessions where they have literary speed dating. So they will have a selection of publishers, and so often there will be a children's publisher, and so you would, beforehand you get a 3-minute pitch, and then it's online, and then you might have 3 or 4 publishers for that you'll be able to have a turn through, and you just present. So that could be a way of presenting as well.
Okay, because I've looked at their website just of looking about fees and stuff, but I didn't realise they ran that, so that'll be good.
Yeah, they do that, but also in terms of contracts, helping you with contracts, making sure that you get good deals, and they're kind of like, the authors union, and I'm all for that kind of stuff. So
so that's great,
we're worth signing up for.
Yeah,
but literary speed dating would be good, and also just
I'll certainly look into that. Thanks, Rosina.
No, that's right. Good.
Are you looking to put it in schools, or are you looking for as your target market just for like children and families?
I'd love it to go
or both. Because
in Australia we've got, it's called the Scholastic something or other, and they specifically focus on putting books in schools. So I'd like to get involved with that as well. Yeah, but schools for diversity, and so kids can see that usually if there is a child with a disability in a school, there's always someone caring for them, or the kids caring for them, but they don't actually see them having fun. Because I'm a fun person. Because I had a disability, that didn't stop me for wanting to do adventures and travel and have fun, and travel to Bali all by myself, which was amazing.
25 times.
Yeah, four times I fell in Bali. But you just sort of bounce back and keep going. And that's the message I'm trying to get through, is that, just try to, for these kids, for people, able-bodied people, to understand they're not just in a wheelchair, or, you've got the Paralympics and everything that inspires all of that, but they're adults anyway, most of them. And it's only once every 4 years. So for it to be in schools, that's kind of a target for me. Yeah, it'd be brilliant.
And Dorling Kingsley, the publisher Dorling Kingsley, you must have heard of that publisher, Dorling Kingsley. Dorling Kingsley is a big publisher, and they do a lot of children's. I think it's maybe all children's, I'm not sure, but I think they sort of target into schools as well, and to families. But I think the school market obviously is brilliant.
Oh, great! Is that Doyling? How do you spell that? D-O-I?
I think it's Dorling.
Oh, D-O-R. Oh, Dorling.
Yeah.
Kindersley.
Oh, okay.
Kindersley. That's
well. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you for that. What a great
topic. There you go. Hey.
Yeah.
And Annie, because I reckon you would have no qualms asking, but once you feel like your manuscript's tight and edited and everything, I would perhaps approach asking for a quote or something from Dylan Alcott.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's a good...
He was Australian of the Year this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you reckon to get in touch with him?
Well, I think, that would be a great sort of push for your book too.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be great.
Do you have illustrations? Have you done any illustrations?
Well, this is where I'm a bit confused because I've got a picture of what I want my kids to look like. And I'm going to have one person of colour, just to, continue on that diversity theme. But some of the publishers provide their own illustrators when I was doing my research. So I'm not...
Sometimes it's good to have an image, though. Sometimes it might be good to have a mock-up image that, if you happen to know an illustrator, just to mock up the front cover.
Yeah.
And just maybe have one inside scene, just to get a flavour of how you're making yours different.
Okay.
Just an idea. That's what I mean, because I'm a very visual person and children are very visual people.
Yes.
And so publishers will want to, okay, you've got the words, but it's like how to see it as a finished article. It's always good to maybe create the front cover and maybe one inside.
Okay.
I know some illustrators. If I can send you some details if you want.
Okay, thanks. Because I had to actually chat to Paul at the disruptive meeting. I had a chat with him as well. I've got pictures of what I've got off the internet. That was the style of child I'd like to look like, not a stick figure or anything like that. I want them.
No. You want them some beautiful imagery, because imagery, I mean, especially a children's book, to me, obviously, it is about the words, but it's 50% about the imagery and what that conjures up and how you're going to make your book different to, say, other people's books, on this in this area. So maybe look at other people's books in that area and see how yours is going to be very different and much more interesting and much more, I don't know, realistic or much more impactful.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's great. Thank you. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So, sorry.
Lots of good advice.
Fantastic. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, we look forward to hearing how that goes.
Yes. My first book.
Yeah. Good.
Told me about Adam's written 3,000 books and had 150 published. I thought, oh my God.
Well, he started with none. So we all start at the same place.
Yeah.
So Sherry, you wanted to say something, share something?
Yeah, I mean, what a great group. What great advice. I mean, I just love to hear that. I love kids' books. That's where I am. I write kids' books, and I started kind of fell off the wagon. So, I'll just be honest, I wasn't doing anything. So, that big A that it's the missing piece of every puzzle, I think. It's called action, do something. So I wrote a short story and I entered in 2 contests, and I also got it accepted into an anthology. So it's going to get...
Wow.
Well,
I know, right? Just because I did something, I had to do something. Thank you. I went to the school and I did 12 classes with middle schoolers, and that was a lot of fun because I do workshops for writers. And that got me inspired because I was around the kids again. So I just needed something to do. I took a job at a KOA campsite for 6 months over the summer and really learned more than I ever thought I would about different kinds of people and travelers and whatnot. So a lot of weird, interesting things, but it's all because I just said, do something. And I also edited a middle school book that I'm finished. It's a novel. It's done. And I'm querying it right now. So we'll see.
Oh, brilliant.
And I always think of this group when I do things because I always think of the A in the front of the book. Right, Andrew?
Yeah.
Yeah, the action part.
That's just a good reminder, Sheree, isn't it? Because the hardest part of anything is thinking about it. We spend so much time thinking, debating, analysing, don't we? Who does that? The easiest thing to do is something. That is the by far, even if it goes nowhere, it's better to do something than nothing, because you'll always get a result. It may not always be the result you want, but it'll lead you to the result you want. Just do something. That's awesome. Good on you, Sheree. That's wonderful. Hello, Felicia. Good to see you.
Hi, Felicia.
Can I just ask? Sorry. Go on, Felicia.
No, I was just saying hello. Going back on mute.
Can I just ask, I'm really curious about Alice's process in terms of publishing and how you went about that, Alice, and congratulations on getting your first book out there. That's just brilliant. So well done.
Yeah, I mean, originally I always wanted to have a publisher, but then I had this change of mind because I just thought, you know what, I just want to do it exactly how I want to do it, and I don't want it to be interfered. I just want to do it how I want to do it. So basically, I decided to self-publish, and also I just wanted the autonomy of it. I mean, I know obviously, you know, having a publisher, they do the PR. I mean, obviously you have to do lots yourself, but they have all the contacts and all of that and the distributors. But I didn't know, because mine's such a personal story, and I was quite hesitant about putting it out. It took me 7 years to actually finally get it edited and published. Yeah, but now is the right time. So I think it's all divine timing, really. So yeah, I've self-published, and you know, Andrew's been supporting me for the last couple of months, I think, and so now I'm going on podcasts and getting it out there. And I live in Bali, so I've got it into 17 different outlets, whether it's a shop or a spa or supermarket, like a holistic one. So yeah, so I'm sort of targeting the more sort of holistic, you know, places, yeah, so pyramids of chi, healing places like that, because it's a very transformational story that I think somebody can relate to. One aspect of a lot of the things, obviously a lot of things happen in my story, you know, divorce, loss of my adopted children, so lots of grief, spiritual awakening, you know, mental breakdown, blah blah blah. I end up getting locked up in a hospital for a certain amount of time, but I managed to get out. So it's a real kind of, I say it's a true adventure story because it is an adventure. I mean, I felt like I was sort of living in a movie, really. I couldn't believe that my life could have literally just changed in, you know, 24 hours, which it did. So yeah, so I've just been sort of working on it, getting it into, yeah, sort of holistic places. You know, I haven't really touched really any markets except for Bali. And I haven't really had much success online with Amazon yet, because I haven't done ads or anything. So I'm just doing the podcast now. So I'm getting on other people's shows. And finally, 6 months later, well, actually it's 8 months later, and he's just told me I'm finally getting my voice to be seen and to speak about it, because, you know, it's taken me time to, until I got good reactions from people emailing me and telling me my story was inspirational or it helped them, then I wasn't quite ready to completely, you know, put myself out there.
Brilliant, well done. I mean, and it's all part of that process, isn't it? And you know, being ready and taking the steps. So fantastic. Yeah,
thank you.
Inspiring. Well done,
Alice. I know what you mean by, you know, getting your own personal story out there, because I've written a memoir as well. And it hit me. It was okay writing the book. I was fine with that. But was when I was creating my website, and the website was going to go live, and I was just so nervous, because I'm thinking, gosh, everyone's going to know about me. I'm an amputee, and usually people say to me, oh, what's wrong with you? Or why, you know, they're really rude. They ask you, and I go, I've just got a sore hip. I really didn't go into what, you know, to strangers. I'm not going to tell them my life story. So when it was my website being launched, that's when I got really nervous. I thought, I can't hide, because I was really hiding myself. And I thought, you can't hide anymore, and you've really got to start getting out there and talking about yourself, which is one of the hardest things you can do. So well done. But your story sounds, you sort of, you know, rushing through it like that.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know.
Yeah, I didn't want to waste too much time.
Not a bit like I just went down the shop and bought an ice cream type of thing. But, you know.
Well, I was giving you the quick.
It would have been incredibly traumatizing.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah.
you know. But
talking about vulnerability and putting yourself out there, I mean, what I realized, what was a really good realization, I had to get to that point before I could actually speak up about my book, was the fact that it was about the judgment I put on myself about what happened to me, what people would think of me, how people judged me, and how I judge myself as well. You know, because I got locked up, anyone that's been sectioned, which I don't know what part of the population that's happened to, you know, you don't ever want anyone to know that, because it makes you more vulnerable to being technically locked up again, or, you know, there's a lot of fear around it. And so yeah, and obviously other things that happen in my book, which I won't go into, but, you know, this sort of, yeah, you just don't really, it's like walking down the street naked. That's the only thing I can sort of,
compare
make a sort of, yeah.
But the thing
So
is,
it's very vulnerable.
Yeah, you weren't locked up as a prisoner, though. You were locked up to get help.
Allegedly, yes. Yeah.
Well, okay.
I don't know if that's help that I actually wanted.
There wasn't much help, was there?
Another story.
There wasn't a lot of help at all.
Okay.
No, they just drug you and lock you in a cupboard, kind of thing. It was like being in prison. It felt like prison to me. I mean, I obviously haven't been to prison, and I'd never had a mental crisis before, so it was very scary, and definitely lacked compassion. There wasn't any compassion in there or general kindness, really. It was just really injecting you with drugs, saying I was bipolar and just drugging me. And then I secretly came off the drugs myself. And then funnily enough, I was so much better. And then I got thrown off the section as quickly as I got put on it, and basically sort of thrown out there. So it was it. And no follow-up. I followed them up. and it's like, no, we won't give you any counselling, any help. No, go to your doctor. So it was an interesting experience. But only temporary, so I was very lucky.
Yeah.
I don't think we get anything we can't handle in life. So that's been my philosophy. So obviously I could handle quite a lot, and I did. So yeah.
That's called resilience.
Yeah, I think that's a good lesson, isn't it? We've all got a much greater capacity than we think.
For sure.
Good. Who else wants to share?
Yeah. So when you go and travel and do your speeches about your book, make sure you ask people. One of the mistakes I see a lot of writers make is they're afraid to ask people to buy it. Don't be afraid to do that. I book speeches with the book I've published, and a lot of it is they need to buy 20 copies of my book and hand them out or use them as door prizes in order for me to even participate. And that's not asking a lot. And that's a great way to get your book out there, because it sounds like an amazing journey.
Who are you talking about, me or Alice?
Alice.
Oh, okay.
For both, really. I love them both. I love them both. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I've got a couple of I just did a speaking gig, and I've got a couple more coming up, just so that they're finally all flowing, because I was so affected by COVID. Because I'm in Melbourne, and we were the longest lockdown city in the world. So pretty much could do nothing for 2 years other than on the internet. So finally it's all coming together, and I'm so excited. I've just had to order more books, and I've ordered some bookmarks and have those as a giveaway. And so it's just, I'm all really rejuvenated again now.
Good on you, Annie.
Can I just say one thing? I've never actually done a speaking gig. I've only done podcasts so far, so I don't know really what that's about, and I haven't managed to do that yet, but I'm sure Andrew will probably tell me at some point. But
yeah,
definitely need to be on the stage, Alice, for sure.
Yeah, just have a structure. Have you got a Toastmasters club in Bali? You should have.
Probably, but I'm not very brave about that. I could look into it.
Not many are. 99% of people aren't. Find a Toastmasters club. They'll teach you how to structure your speeches, and you can practice in the clubs as well, and you get good feedback.
Okay. All right.
On this side, we have the National Speakers Association. I'm a member of that. That's really helpful.
Yeah.
It's like a writers group only for speakers, and you can, they've got a lot of resources. The meetings are really well done. They help you to structure it, and you don't want to think of it as a speech. You just want to think of it as sharing what you have that's important to others. And when you do that, you'll find your space, because people want to listen to you, especially when you are sharing something so special with these folks. And we can all relate to all of that. And then all of a sudden you're selling books and people are interested, and you're getting more speaking engagements. So think of it more as sharing. And then it's not as scary either.
Yeah.
And once you start,
that's how I see it, just sharing it.
Yeah, my last gig was for 20. I was only supposed to speak for 20 minutes, and I spoke for an hour. And they said, our meeting usually finishes at 11, and it was 11:30. I thought, terrible. But, But they were interested. They were just absorbing everything I was saying. And it's amazing how much power it gives you. It's really amazing. You've got this room full of people and they're all staring at you or looking at you. And they're really interested in what, and your story is very, what's the word? You know, it'll be captivating, which is not the right word, seeing you were sort of locked up, but I can just imagine people. It's a gripping. It sounds like a really gripping story. So I think you'll have no problems in having an audience.
Thanks. Yeah, I hope so. When I'm ready. Yeah.
Oh, you've done some practice already today, Alice.
Yeah.
Talking to a group.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I've just done some podcasts recently, which was I find it quite nerve-wracking. I mean, I get into it, but it's just like, being live, being recorded, speaking, because I wasn't really seen and heard, and I wasn't really accepted in sort of what was going on for me. So yeah, sort of speaking up is quite a big thing for me, really. I mean, yesterday I was at something actually, and they wanted everyone to talk, and I couldn't didn't want to do it.
What you could do now, Alice, is throw yourself into those situations. Any opportunity to get out of your comfort zone, do it.
Yes, I know, but it wasn't the right place.
Don't let the fear stop you.
Yeah, I won't.
I'll just read your quote to everybody. This is from Jerry Seinfeld. According to most studies, people's number one fear is public speaking. Number two is death. Death is number two. They'd rather die. So this means to the average person, if you go to a funeral, you're better off in the coffin than doing the eulogy.
It's true, actually. That is, I get that. But I'm going to get through that. But I agree. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
I don't want to be in a coffin. I'm not. No. Much rather be doing the eulogy. Yeah, no. Public speaking is a powerful thing. It really is. It's very empowering to know that your voice, your message, your words can impact lives, and that's why you write your book, isn't it? That's why we do.
Yeah, but it's like it's like everything.
You've got to try and hit people in their different ways they like to hear. Like some people read it, other people like to listen. So watching, and you talk about visual, and so if you really want to impact lives, you've got to look at all of the different platforms. So books and ebooks and audiobooks and speaking and podcasts and blogs, and you look at all those things. How do I hit maximum number of people? How do I get my message and have a bigger effect? Got to look at all of the different ways of doing it.
Yeah, I just started my podcast and I've done my 6th podcast now. So I think that's really helped me learn to speak and to be in that situation of having conversations. So yeah, so I put out my 6th podcast today. So so I have started in that sense.
Excellent. Good. All right, we've got some people being a bit quiet. Who wants to share something, ask a question, or just check to say g'day?
Well, I think the queen of resilience might be Denise. How are you going, Denise?
I'm hanging in there. I have faced some very severe health issues of late, and it's made things extremely difficult on me psychologically. Being bipolar and having a traumatic brain injury on top of my disabilities, I struggle with everyday life as it is. And writing a book on top of my exercise goals was going so well. And then I just got bombarded with bad medical news, and I probably got more coming up. So that's on my mind. So I have not been as dedicated to my writing every day. I'm editing, and I'm on the second. I just finished the second to the last chapter. I've got 1 chapter left to go editing, and then I'll be ready to talk to Andrew about, I've already finished my query letters, and I've already finished my synopsis. So Andrew had me do that a while back when I got done with the first edit, and then I sent it off for professional assessment, and I've taken the assessor's advice, and now I'm re-editing based on that feedback. And so I'm just trying to get in there every day and doing my best. It's so great to hear from people who have already gone through what I've gone through, and have gotten past the publishing stage, because that will be the next hurdle for me, will be obviously trying to find a publisher. And Andrew's had me make a list of 50. So there's quite a few out there to sort through, lots of resources online to find publishers. I'm making my list and checking it twice to get ready to do that part of it. So I'm trudging along, following Andrew's orders.
Good girl. She's a good girl. And what I love, Denise, the most about you is you've had some really significant challenges recently, but you keep showing up. And I think that's one of the key elements of success, is to show up even when you don't feel like it. I mean, I'm probably sure it would be much easier for you just to lie down and sleep or watch television or whatever, but here you are. So good on you. You're always here every month, and whether you feel like it or not. And I think that's awesome. So well done.
Well, that's what the basis of the book is about, how to go from being a vegetable to being a productive citizen of society once again, and how I got past all those hurdles. And this is just more hurdles for me to get past. So it's implementing what I'm hoping to be speaking about publicly one of these days coming up soon, to other people, to inspire them, and for my book to inspire people to travel on their own journey with an outline that I've given in my book to follow. I need to take my own medicine.
You do. Good on you. Well done, Denise.
Well done, Denise.
Okay, Rosina, you've been asking lots of questions. Let's hear where you're at. You've been wonderful, giving lots of advice, asking lots of questions. Let's hear where you're at.
That's really cheeky, Andrew.
Why is that cheeky?
Oh, because I think I'm in the turning up, don't feel like it today.
Well, good on. Well, there you go. That's a reason to celebrate. So, and the fact you admitted that, that's positive. So well done. You're here.
Yeah.
Makes being here even more special.
Yeah.
And here's the other thing, Rosina, you're helping other people, and you're sharing, and you're congratulating, you're lifting and encouraging other people. That's beautiful.
Yeah, you've given me some great tips.
So now you've been giving to everyone. Now it's time for you to receive a little bit from people. So what do you need? Apart from a publishing contract.
Yeah.
What's your book about, Rosina? I don't think I know.
So the one that's finished it's a collection of 11 true stories. It's meant to be used as a tool by parents and teachers. It's a collection of 11 true stories of different forms of child abuse. At the end of each one, there are a series of discussion points, and the idea is that by going through the stories with children, it's just to make them aware and perhaps give them strategies of how they could potentially deal with a situation. The underlying theme of the voice of the book is actually empowerment and using their voice. So that's it. So it kind of probably would come under the banner of protected behaviours. So yeah.
All right. Well, that'd be a great book for schools as well.
I think so. I would like to see it in schools.
Yeah.
Definitely. I think as part of their, personal development programs. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Sorry. That is a powerful topic. Yes, that would be perfect in the schools. I work with about 21 school districts over here, and it's just interesting. I've got 218 stories to go through. I don't judge them, but I read a lot of them, and I coordinate the entire contest. So I have young adult writing contests. We just finished submissions. And I'm just thrilled because we got 218 submissions, high school, fourth through fifth grade, and then sixth through eighth grade. And it's interesting to see what they write about. And those types of things really speak to me about where these kids are at, because these are the kids that are communicating. These are the ones that are verbal. These are the ones that write. So it's kind of interesting to see. Last year, unfortunately, for the first time, we had to put a disclaimer on the anthology that we published with all their stories because of the content. A lot of them, unfortunately, we got a lot talking about suicide and some very dystopian content. Not any, I don't want to worry anybody, but it's just one of those things that I like to throw out there and see what you guys think about children's literature right now. Anybody have any basic thoughts on that?
I think those topics, those hard topics, were the ones that, traditionally we would have kind of kept quiet about, and not, even just the whole. There's so much more awareness now, and I think it's really important that there's a discussion. And as you'd know, Cherie, that in terms of you meet the children at the level they're at, you don't over explain, you don't overtell, you answer the questions, but it's all honest and it's factual. It's not. I think those sort of topics I think need to be careful because they're not to be shown in a sensationalized way, because that's not what but I think there's more out there, and I think there's certainly a growing awareness, and more of an acceptance of discussing those areas.
Do you think that the pandemic put a different light for these kids? They felt, yeah, I mean, it's really interesting to see how the effect that it's had. The good news is most kids still just want a fun romp and they just want everything to end well. So the hope that they have and their enthusiasm is still there. It's just, I think what I'm seeing is at younger ages, they're starting to recognize and worry. That's the word. They worry about things.
Yeah.
I wish they wouldn't worry so young. But they've,
at such young, they've had the pandemic, they've got the crisis of the climate and what on earth's happening. What does their future look like? And I remember as a young young people tend to really internalize deeply. They haven't become, that jaded and sort of just focused on the little. So I think there will be studies further down the track that will show how huge the impact the pandemic's been and the isolation for people. I think that's quite significant. And they're at it, because I'm hearing from, even my youngest son, and just, questioning whether things matter really.
Yeah, that element of hope. But like I said, I mean, I still find them to be really fun, and they still want, like I said, a good read and a good romp. And so as you're all out there writing for the kids, make sure that you keep that in mind, that there's a lot of fun left out there.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I think someone said to me the other day, they said the reason that children weren't affected by the virus is because they still have hope. And I didn't, very simple, but it kind of hit home. I thought, well, maybe that's true. They weren't afraid of it. They have hope. We saw very low incident of, children contacting any kind of that pandemic virus. So anyway, but yeah, you guys, I'm so excited about what you're writing, all of you. I mean, you share, you give information. This is very inspirational for people. A friend of mine just finished a book called Bridges Over Adversity, and he does exactly what you're talking about. He does different presentations for different groups and talks about, he interviewed 15 different people and how they overcame different types of adversity. So just sharing that is really important for people. So don't ever think that what you're sharing is not important, because it is. It impacts people. So thank you all for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cherie.
No, I just wanted to add one more piece to what Cherie is saying. Cherie, you're also in the U.S. too, right? So I thought you were here in the U.S. The pandemic was one piece, but I know at least where I am, I'm in Maryland, and even on the East Coast, the crime has gotten so bad. And a lot of the crime that's being committed, at least here in Maryland, are by children, 13 years old and younger, carjacking, robbing people, coming out of the grocery stores. And they're saying it's because, for one, gangs are using younger kids because they know they won't get arrested. So they just get released back to their parents and then they commit more crime. But I often wonder if that's also because of the pandemic. It's like in Maryland and Baltimore City, I'll say it's like a lawlessness. So it's almost like you don't even want to go into the city. And most of the people that are committing the crimes nowadays are little children. So what hope do they have if they think it makes more sense to go out and have fun with their friends and, to do well in school? More now it's like, who can I rob and who can I hurt and whose car can I steal?
Yeah, that's kind of an age-old thing. I just finished plunging through Oliver Twist, the original edition. And I got to tell you, we've come a long way since the 1920s, but the themes have not changed. I find that very interesting. Children were always used underage for crimes because of that. They were treated as less than citizens, more like property, even in Lincoln's time. Abraham Lincoln couldn't even leave the farm until his father gave him permission. He wanted to leave, but he owned him until he was 17. So we've come a long way in the way we treat each other and people. And there's some bumps along the road, and I understand what you're saying. So yeah, I'm hoping that the children and their enthusiasm and their joy for life will not be dampened by what they see. And it's up to adults to stop, to remind them 100%. That there's a lot of fun to be had out there. I mean, gosh, I'm in and out of the schools and there's a lot of fun to be had. They do some mischievous things and they're worried. And that's my big problem right now is they're worrying at a too young of an age. And it's up to adults to make sure that that doesn't happen to them, in that respect. But yeah, I agree.
Big topic, hey? We're not going to solve it today, that's for sure. and I think it comes back to that. The one person, the only one person that we have control over, and that is ourselves and our thoughts and our choices and the impact the ripple effect that we leave on this world. That's all we get to do. We can worry about the kids and the influences and the crime and all that kind of stuff. But I think if you have kids, you'll know this. They're far more impacted by what you do rather than what you say. And I think if we can just be the best we can be and put out positivity and love and hope and forgiveness and gratitude and all the stuff that we talk about every week, and action and inspiration and overcoming and perspective and all that stuff, that's where it starts. There's always a ripple effect. You drop that pebble into the pond and it will ripple out, and you are the pebble. So all you can focus on is what you do. So I think that's probably a good place to wrap it up today, unless there's anyone who's got any final thoughts.
Yeah, I've got some final thoughts on that.
Thanks,
Andrew.
good to hear from
I
you.
haven't spoken yet, but yeah. I agree with hear what everyone's saying about young people and the crime and the hopelessness and all that sort of thing. I work with homeless young people, and it always amazes me how resilient they actually are and how they can overcome all this stuff. So I think that's one of the reasons why Andrew is right, that you just need to be looking at how to inspire people and how they can grow and think. And because it just amazes me how resilient these young people are and how they do still have hope and optimism and things despite what they go through. So I think that's a very important point, Andrew, that's part of what we're here for, is to encourage that.
Well, that's why we're doing what we're doing, isn't it? I mean, isn't that why we're all here? Isn't that why we're writing books? I mean,
yeah, well,
I never wrote a book to be an author. That was never the reason I wrote a book. I wrote a book to have a positive impact on lives and my life. And I think the more I live, the more I recognize the simplicity of that impact is just helping people feel important, that they're actually valuable, that they're actually, they're here for a purpose, that young people. And I think a lot of young people struggle with self-image, self-worth, and they do things to get attention. I mean, how many kids misbehave, and when you dig right down to it, they just want to be seen, they want to be heard. Yeah, I think everyone from homeless people, at least you would know this, they don't necessarily need grand gestures of money or of gifts. They just want to be seen and heard. They just want to feel like they're actually someone, and I think, wow, that's why I do what I do. And I know this is why you do what you do, because we want people to feel like they're valuable, they're useful, and their life is meant for something great. So
I wonder how Felicia's book's going.
oh, it's going. Felicia, you don't need to make that reaction. You're on track. We had a good meeting and you're doing great stuff.
No, it's just that I wish it was done. No, as I told Andrew, so my book is really about how to restart and get a company from being in a state of almost shutting down to being profitable and prospecting. So I decided to use my company as that case study because, I do a lot of government contracting here in the US, and between the pandemic and the aftermath from that, it's just been very difficult to get work. So doing a whole lot of restructure. So my book is actually my life right now, with my business and trying to get them to both align and grow together. So that way, when my book is finished, my company hopefully will be successful and where it needs to be. Like sometimes I join these calls just to listen to everyone else, but then when the light turns on me, it's like, oh no.
We all feel that way, Felicia.
Oh, hopefully you'll get there.
I hope so too. I do.
Good. All right, guys. Well, we might wrap it up. It's been just a smaller group than normal, but it's been great conversation, hasn't it? We've covered lots of things, and thank you everyone who shared and given some amazing advice and given us lots to think about. So, Alice, good to see you for your first forum. Hope to see you many, many more, and we look forward to hearing about how your book starts to take off from Bali and all around the world. And if you're struggling a little bit at the moment, hang in there and just believe, yeah, and know that you've got support here. All you need to do is ask for help. I need help, whatever that might be. And you might just need a word of encouragement. You might just need a virtual hug. You might just need someone to believe in you. But that's what I'm here for, because I believe in every single one of you, and very grateful for every one of you, and know that you've got amazing stuff. And yeah, Felicia's taking longer than you would like, for sure. Rosina, it's taking way longer than you would like, for sure. But if you keep hanging in there and you keep pushing, you keep believing, it will happen. Will happen. Trust me. Trust. Faith. Anyway, have a beautiful evening, day, weekend. We'll be back here in 4 weeks. And there's another forum on Tuesday evening, Melbourne, Australia time, as you know. So if you want to join that one too, it would be great to see you. But good to see you all, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Andrew. Bye,
Thanks,
everyone.